Hey everyone, John Stenstrom here from Cast and Spear, where it's our goal to hopefully inspire you to catch your own food. In this video, my buddy is going to show you how to do 2 styles of wishbones and how to tie the constrictor knot. Enjoy.
So I have a band here, and we'll just go through the basics of putting a wishbone in the band and show you how to do the constrictor knot. The wax line that you use for the constrictor knot is pretty specific and it ties on itself, but for this purpose, so everybody can see properly, we're going to use this shooting line. And in a pinch, a line like this will work. It's better to have that wax line, but if you have some of this thin shooting line that really grips on itself, I mean, you can pretty much use anything. I have these bands. These are some old bands, but they're tapered. And one way you can taper these bands, a lot of people don't, but if you want to, you can just take a nail, put the nail in the end there and see where the head is. Then you can take this and put it on your bench grinder and it'll give you something to go to. So a longer nail would work a little bit better than this, but this gives you that, makes it rigid. Obviously you're trying to press this down, it's gonna squeeze all over the place. But if you have a shaft or nail in there, you're going to be able to then rotate this and it's going to stay straight. And you can just taper it down to the head of the nail and that'll be fine.
I will say that on a, like a 5-band gun, having a little bit less bulk sitting there on the shark fins is helpful when you're looking down the muzzle.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. But, it's not needed.
It's sexier.
It's a little sexier. There's different shooting lines or wishbone material that you can use. This is some really thick stuff. I like to reuse mine. This is some line that I got down at Spear America. On these, to tie the knot, you can just do like a double overhand. It'd be just fine. It's literally 2 granny knots. So 1, 2. You want to keep it kind of big. What you're going to notice is it's going to do this like figure 8. That's what you want. Just kind of cinch that down so you have those 2 barrels there, nice and wide, and that's going to be just fine. Again, there's probably multiple knots there that you could do, but something like that is just fine.
And also keep in mind, cut off the tag end, melt it up flat against it. He can show you here how he did that on his
Yeah,
knot.
Same, cut off, melt, push it in, it's going to hold. So you want a nice little ball on the end there. We could use whatever. A pair of pliers. You want to lube the inside of this up. It's going to assist you in putting the knot in. And you can put the knot in some soap. You can just put this in your mouth and spit in it. Get it a little wet in there. Run it in the water. Yeah, maybe we leave that part out. But a little bit of soap on the knot. It's going to help it slide. A pair of needle nose pliers. Try to find the narrow part, just like that.
It's not easy, so don't get frustrated. It takes some practice.
Just kind of push it in there.
Further than you think you need.
Yeah, well, this is kind of where the screwdriver comes into play too, that you can use. Is you can hold that in there and then take out your pliers and you're in there, but you can take this screwdriver and find the knot and just push it down farther.
The idea is that you want the knot beyond where you're going to put your constrictor.
Yeah, so now my knot's down here in this area, which is just fine. There's the other way to do it. You can just lay this over the top, and then you want to take this line and grab it here, and you're going to twist it in the same way. You don't want to twist it this way because you're untwisting it. So take it like this and do a twist, and then come down to the bottom here, and there it is. So then you can just put this on here. You can see there's your constrictor knot there. Get your pliers, get some wraps on there.
Yeah, you notice he left himself a nice long tag end there because you want to...
Yeah, it takes a lot more than... When you buy some of this stuff, or you buy whatever, you want to get extra because you use a lot more than you might think. So there's your knot, and you just want to pull the daylights out of it. Basically as hard as you can. And you're not going to cut through the band, and you're not going to break the line. And so that has tightened onto itself and is not going to come loose. Now we'll do the same thing. You want to leave yourself some line. Don't cut it all the way flush because you want to melt it.
The top of
Again, leave yourself some line. Now we got our tags. Really melt it and then push it flat. Same here. So that is not coming out. Now I got this, pull it back out. Now the knot's right there and we're good to go. So you can just repeat that process with this side. Some guns you can tie the bands before you put it in the gun because there's a slot. Mine, home build, and some other ones, there's no slot. So you'd want to feed this through your gun obviously first so you can get it in. If you're gonna do the knot the way that I showed you to do, you won't be able to put it on if it's already connected. So an essential step is to go ahead and do your knot one more time. Give myself a little more. Again, it's laid over, twisting the same way through. You can put this on, tighten it up a little so it doesn't fall off. Then you'll put your wishbone in there again, slide this down to where you want it, and cinch it off, and you're done. Got that there. We'll get a little bit of soap, put it on here. There's that. Right there.
Yeah, don't try to wrap it around your hands and do this. Wrap it around.
Yeah,
Cool.
you won't be able to get it tight enough if you just try to use your hands. That's probably a little too much. This obviously wasn't done with the right line, but just goes to show it'll work.
Yeah, we'll have future videos talking about how to actually set up your bands, the measurements correctly, the wishbones correctly, and things like that. For the purposes of this video, we just wanted to make sure that you knew how to put your wishbone in and tie it off right.
So you could do 2 of these. A lot of my buddies do. I do doubles.
I do.
You do?
And I do the fold over on one side, and then on the second one, I'll put it on the bottom side so the constrictors are actually opposite.
Oh, so
one
they're
another.
opposite?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I don't. I'm lazy. But I don't have a lot of failures. I think I've only had 1 fail.
Which is funny because I've had 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah? Not strong enough, though. But again, if you want to skip all this madness, you can just go to Spear America, and those guys will do it right. And
well, also,
it's not expensive.
If it fails, you don't have to blame yourself. You can.
That's right.
You can say it was their fault, it wasn't my fault.
But yeah, that does suck if it fails. But if you have your kit and it fails,
you're on a boat, you're on a charter.
You're on a charter, you can just redo it.
Yeah.
So making sure you have your kit, your pliers, and some extra line, some scissors, a lighter, extra swivels, extra wishbones. If you have a gun that you can insert the bands afterwards, you can have pre-made bands ahead of time and just bring those with you. If you have a failure, just swap it out, and that literally just takes seconds. So being prepared is the name of the game, and the rest is luck.
So another way, the way that Myrran showed on how to make this band, he had a pre-measured wishbone. So if he knew his gun inside and out, and he knew that it was tuned correctly at this exact wishbone length, then he would just do it like that. He'd save himself a couple extra steps. In this scenario, you can see that I have the wishbone attached to these little pieces of reel line. And so you are going to go like, fold it in half, tie just a regular granny knot in it, and then pull that back towards the end, like that. And again, as always, it might be a little bit too much. As always, we're gonna melt that. Push it back on itself so it can't pull through. Pull it tight. And then now what you can do is you can, instead of pushing the direct wishbone through, you can push this down into the line. This one's a little bit big, you can see. The way that you want to measure it is have your knot just below the constrictor there. I just wanted to make it big so you can see it in the video. You'd set it down in there. And what's the benefit of that? So as you can see for the band for this gun, this was a band that I took off with the Oceanborn. You can actually quickly test and modify. Man, that guy's on there. I've cut the ends off of most of my fingers, so I don't have much feeling in any of them. True story. So what you can do is fold that over. Almost got it. When you're practicing with it in the pool or in the ocean and really trying to see what the most accurate setup is, your wishbone length is a big part of that. So what you could do when you first get it is you could make a bunch of these wishbones. You could make one 1/4 inch bigger, 1/2 inch bigger, and just have all different measurements. And then once you're in the water and testing, you can swap them out. And it's as simple as putting through the eyelet like that. Again, no feeling in the fingers. Okay, so you put it through like that, wrap around the loops. You're gonna come around like this, back up through like this. Pull down, that's not going anywhere. Do it over here as well. So now, rather than if you wanted to test a bunch of wishbones lengths, instead of having to retie your constrictor knots and push them back through the band every time, you've got your loop that's already down in there, your constrictor stays, you're just changing your wishbone. Wishbones don't break often, but they do break. You could see this one is a little bit tired. It's frayed a little bit. So there's a possibility that this fails. So if you keep a little bit of wishbone material in your bag and you have these loops, you can easily make a new wishbone, put it in there. So that's just a different setup to achieve the same thing.
All right, well, I hope you found that helpful. Definitely strike that like button if you did. Leave some comments down below. If you have any questions, I'll be sure to answer them. And definitely subscribe so you can see the next video where we do crimping and show you how to attach your shaft to your gun. It's gonna be fun. See you on the next one. Stay safe out there. See ya.